Hey Erica, so lovely to see you. About to get started. I'm only going to do a bit this afternoon. It's been a crazy day. We're flooding all over the place here in Australia. I'm in YouTube jail at the moment, so I'll upload this as soon as I can. And yeah, so let's just get started. I've just been making a note of the things that showed up in the AO scan so that we can utilize those throughout the balance as well. And so let's have a play. Okay, so Erica, so lying down, face up, feet that end. So I'm now 100% Erica. Okay, so give me a yes, give me a no. Are we in Erica's energy? Yes, we are. Okay. So the very first thing that you well, one of the first things you mentioned was the pain you have turning your head to the right, so that it's chronically stiff, especially near the occiput on the left side. So then when I actually went in and had a look at the scan, and the right occipital lymph nodes and the right parotid lymph nodes are chock-a-block at the moment. So the lymph may actually be, whereas when I had a look at the muscles, nothing showed up, whereas it did in the lymph. So that could actually be something. So it might be more something linked into the immune system and the lymphatic system. So detoxification or viruses, bacteria, that sort of thing. So that was sort of just cool that those particular little areas on the scan that I think I forwarded last night have shown up. So let's have a squeeze. Well, firstly, let's just check. Give me a yes, give me a no. Do we need to work on the adrenal, survival, deep survival, hidden deep survival? Right, so it's saying yes to the deep survival and hidden deep survival, so let's just take a layer off that. So let's have a look. Okay, so in second stage stress with deep survival, and what about hidden deep survival? Okay, so is it third or second? Right, so both the deep survival and hidden deep survival are in second stage stress, so your nervous system's going, I can do this, leave me alone, I've got all my balls in the air, I'm going to be fine. So let's just... Okay, so where's this pattern stored? EMC, MMC, PVSS. PVSS, so the periventricular survival system. So the PVSS... Oh, where is it? So let's go have a look. So it's about the sensory nervous system. So is it particularly to do with sight, to sound, to touch, to taste, to smell? So touch, to taste, to smell. So it's not so much your sixth sense. Okay. But it's when there's sensory overload. Sensory overload to what we're seeing, what we're hearing, what we're feeling, what we're touching. The nervous system goes, no more. Okay. First little area is the anterior cingular gyrus. And this is that little area that wants us to be perfect under stress. There's a bit of escape submission freeze going on there, just wanting to run away. Okay, give me a yes, give me a no. We're in Erica's energy, absolutely. Okay, subclossal gyrus. Is this internalized, externalized, internalized? So, so there's some anger directed inwards. So that tends to be liver energy, right? So feeling distressed because of some unpleasantness and something unhappy in the background. Okay. Let's face it, in the last 2 years, it probably could be anything. So, okay, so subclossal gyrus. Because this is one of those little areas in the subconscious brain that has up to the 7 generations of how we deal with stress. So it can be internalized as depression and sadness or externalized as rage, anger, frustration. but they can be exactly the same little part of the brain, expressing it in two different ways. That's better. Okay, reticular activating system. So the RAS is that little area that controls what hormones you create when something new comes into your life. Right, so there's noradrenaline. So at the moment there's the assumption of, new things causing stress and trauma in your world. Yeah, sorry, my brain just was thinking about the few things that have happened in the last week around the world. Okay, so it's creating a vigilance. There's a vigilance in the nervous system and the assumption that life isn't going to get any easier at any time soon. Okay. Beautiful. Okay, now the sympathetic nervous system, let's just go see what organs are being messed around with because of this hyper vigilant nervous system. Okay, so I'm going to scan through the different alarm points. Okay, so lungs are showing up. Is there some emotional gear linked in with that? Yes, there is. An imbalance with humility and disdain. So, okay. Because lungs is about grief, guilt, regret as a general rule. And we often internalize grief, regret, and guilt in our lungs. So when we're not, and lung energy, the meridian runs from here down to the thumb, so it's very much that sort of energy, and then it feeds into large intestine. So large intestine and lung energy have a real flow. Lung energy is most active at 3 to 5 in the morning, and large intestine energy from 5 to 7 in the morning. So if we're waking up between those times, that can mess with our melatonin, which is one of the most important antioxidants in our body. So then it messes with our sleep, can mess with our immune systems. We make most of our melatonin in the small intestine, the same way we do with our serotonin. Okay, so let's just shimmy those lung meridians. See if there's any amygdala. Yeah, okay, so there's an old pain and punishment circuit in there stuck in your lung energy. It's actually not been raining here today. It's been raining non-stop for about 5 days. We've got water in the backyard that goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. When it, goes from heavy rain to just, really light rain, that allows the drains to flow. Fun times. Okay, so once again, the sympathetic nervous. So what that tells me is when the sympathetic nervous system is overworking. Actually, let me see. With the scan, did anything major jump up and down with the respiratory system? Okay, so there were a few little viruses that are linked in with the respiratory system. Okay. And there were a few things that were running acutely in your body at the moment as well. So things like Epstein-Barr virus, there's something going on with molds in your lungs. And then there's some candida, pesticides, chemicals, that sort of thing that are sort of running through your system at the moment. So we'll just make sure we get all those as part of the balance as well. Okay. So once again, let's go see what other organs we need. Lung, heart, sex, stomach, large intestine, bladder, small intestine, adrenals. Okay, so adrenals, thyroid, adrenals, thyroid, immune system. So the immune system in relation to any and all immune system issues. Let's just pick up those immune system points, the etheric immune system. I am happy, I am healthy, I am well. I am happy, I am healthy, I am well. Something else there, so immune, thyroid, adrenal, so something else with the adrenals. Do I need the meridian? Do I need a chakra? Do I need an emotion? Do I need a balance? Yes, oscillation chakra essence, a flower essence. Okay, so bark, bush, bush. Okay, so fringed violet is for trauma. So there's just some old trauma stuck in that adrenal energy. So we'll just use a few drops to just whip that along. Asking to surrogate for Erica, taking this flower essence. And in the endocrine system, so that one was the thyroid, adrenal. So in the scan, a few things also showed up in relation to the endocrine system as well. Right, so part of what was messing in there was some chronic coronavirus, because this is going to be part of our genomes now, so whether it's MERS coronavirus, SARS coronavirus, or coronavirus, as well as the vaccine toxins may be acute or chronically in our systems. I didn't see that a lot, by the way, but I did find some MERS in the urinary tract, some coronavirus in the endocrine system, and acute coronavirus in the circulation. So there were a few things going on. And because, most of us, if we're healthy, we're not even going to know we're going to have these things, which is, of course, why it's so good to get a natural version of a virus, because it allows our immune system to make T cells and B cells and antibodies and all sorts of things naturally, so we've got long-lasting immunity. So it is showing up in a few little systems of the body, which is great because it means you'll have some natural immunity, which is, that's what we want moving forward from this. Okay, so 3 different systems it showed up in. So in fact, let's just ask the body. So in relation to coronavirus, yeah, so your immune system isn't actually unlocking, so whatever it's doing in there, it's quite happy with it. Any and all mutations. There's a bit of an energy mismatch to mutations. In relation to any and all mutations. So lungs, any and all mutations. Any and all mutations. And the urinary tract, the kidneys. Okay, so let me just double check in relation to the adrenal, survival, hidden deep survival. So that's all showing up as okay at the moment. Do I need to do anything in relation to the celestial circuit? Anywhere in relation to the conscious brain? Do I need to pick up the immune system in the clear before moving forward? Okay. So let's just go in and ask the body what the next priority is for you. Yeah, so I think that's the right thing. So I think there's some lymph nodes in there that are quite congested. So that could be making sure that you're doing things like Epsom salt baths, or you could even use compresses on there to sort of stimulate that movement of lymph around the occiput. I don't know whether you see a chiropractor or an osteopath or someone like that. But because it's sort of showing up more lymph rather than muscular, sometimes our jaw can be quite tight as well. So by, giving that jaw a good little massage regularly as well, and sort of even stimulating, at the base of the skull, there's sort of like two little dimples in the bottom of the skull. When they are tender, give them a little massage. If they're tender, then that's a sign that, your muscles are too congested. And basically by stimulating those, it just sort of helps release some toxins, so the head and the skull can be just not detoxing as well as it should. Using skin brushing, from using dry skin brushing from your feet up towards your heart and from your hands towards your heart, so that you're doing that every day to release, as a lymphatic brush, a lymphatic cleanse is a really good idea. Okay, so where do we need to go? So anyway, so with the coronavirus, it looks to me like you've got natural immunity because those 3 different types are showing up in your system, which is great because this virus has been around for a long, long time. It was first found in the 1960s. We've known since like 1999. There's been SARS, there's been MERS, there's been other varieties of it. So it looks like there's several in your system. So I think you absolutely have natural immunity to it. Otherwise, that's really weird. But, it checks between 120 and 130,000 different frequencies on the scanner. So the ones that are closest biometrically to what is going on with the virus, that's what will show up, and, it's showing up. So having said that, let's ask the body in relation to biofilm, because we also don't want those viral particles to go hiding in your system. So in relation to any and all biofilm. Okay, so yes, biofilm is showing up. So let's go and wake up the immune system again in relation to biofilm and mucoid plaque. Biofilm and mucoid plaque. Is there an energy mismatch to it? No. Okay. So any and all viral particles. Yeah, okay. Any and all viral particles. 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 Okay. So the nervous system isn't liking this. So the sensory nervous system there's an old punishment circuit in relation to something associated with these viral particles. Now you've got to remember that bugs don't want to be killed. So even just activating the immune system to start recognizing different viruses, bacteria and things, the bugs don't want to die, so they can break apart and go and hide in your nervous system. So remember that from the past. So with this, let me ask, so is this Erica or is this the bugs themselves? No. So you've actually missed out on something because of a virus in the past, which connected with the emotional gear at the time has created an old nervous system pain and punishment circuit. Okay, so did that create some adrenaline, survival, deep survival, hidden deep survival? That's all okay. What about conscious, something conscious brain? Okay, Sissy trust AC to sponsor. Right, so something you missed out on, so it actually shut down your frontal cortex. So in relation to the frontal cortex. Yeah, So that frontal cortex, when it's not working, it's hard to feel, it's easier to feel sad and depressed and lonely. So because the hormones that it makes when it's all up and running are those feel-good hormones, the oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine, that type of thing. So yeah, so it's linked in with an old... And it's funny because Epstein-Barr virus, you know, glandular fever is showing up at the moment in your system. And once again, it can be acute without symptoms if your body has been trying to deal with it and it's released the old viral particles and they've come out to play and they're being dealt with by your nervous system and your immune system and your supplements at the moment. So that's what we want. We want very little symptoms as we're cleansing the old biofilm and releasing old viral particles. We want there to be very little symptomatology. Yeah, and like you mentioned, the cold sores, and the area that showed up herpes simplex particularly was in the respiratory tract. It didn't say where in the respiratory tract, so that could be anywhere from your sinuses, your ethmoid, you know, as well as your lungs. Okay, so once again, okay, so let's just ask the body in relation to any and all bacterial particles. Any and all bacterial particles. Okay, any and all bacterial particles. Just waking your immune system up for viruses, bacteria. Any and all bacterial particles. Right. So reticular activating system is showing up in relation to bacteria that's stuck in there. Yeah, so once again, the nervous system is thinking in relation to, you know, like SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, the DAO, the MCAS. The nervous system's sort of going, oh my God, is this ever going to be over? So it's sort of, it's releasing that noradrenaline, which is that assumption of long-term stress along with that vigilance, going, when is all this going to be over? And do I need to check in relation to parasites and parasitic particles? Do I need to check in relation to any and all other infections before we... Okay, anything else we need to do just to close this circuit for today? Okay, so there's some integration little areas in the brain. For whatever reason, they're being linked in. Oh, maybe it's the whole gut-brain connection thing. Let's just check in relation to MCAS at the moment, in relation to mast cell activation syndrome. Mast cell activation syndrome. Okay, so once again, so adrenal, survival, deep survival, hidden deep survival, so immune system. Okay, so there's only 1 out of 5 immune system pathways showing up, so that's not bad, that's a big improvement. Let's check in relation to histamine and histamine issues. Okay, so histamine is still showing up as being an issue with the immune system. Histamine and histamine issues. Okay, And let's check in relation to, firstly, in relation to stomach energy, okay, in relation to diamine oxidase, DAO, in relation to DAO, optimal levels of DAO. I'll just scan through the different body systems. Stomach's not showing up, small intestine's not showing up. Okay, so DAO is actually doing much better as well. So even though there's histamine going on, it's not showing up as MCAS, mast cell activation syndrome, and it's also not showing up as being a DAO, diamine oxidase issue at the moment. So both of those things are really good. So that's what I've got time for today. Sorry, Erica, it's been a crazy day. And I shall get a surrogate on the table for part two as soon as I can. Okay, talk to you soon. Bye.